Remember when eggs were a cheap and easy meal? Those days are gone. Once a staple in many households, eggs have now become a luxury item for some. The days of effortlessly whipping up an affordable omelet or baking a cake without a second thought about the cost of eggs seem like a distant memory. Across the country, shoppers are reeling from sticker shock in the egg aisle. The price tags on egg cartons have left many consumers in disbelief, wondering how something so basic could become so expensive. Prices have skyrocketed, leaving many families struggling to afford this dietary staple. For some, it means cutting back on other groceries or finding alternative sources of protein. But what's behind this sudden surge in cost? The reasons are multifaceted and not immediately obvious to the average shopper. The answer, like the modern food system itself, is complex. It involves a tangled web of economic factors, supply chain disruptions, and market dynamics. It's a story of inflation, corporate greed, and the plight of small farmers caught in the middle. Small-scale farmers are often squeezed by rising costs and unfair market practices, making it harder for them. It's time to take a closer look at what's happening and explore ways to create a more just and sustainable food future. Community initiatives and local farming could be part of the solution. This crisis is a wake-up call. It's urging us to rethink our food systems and consider more resilient and equitable alternatives. We can't afford to ignore it. The time to act is now, before the next crisis hits and leaves us even more unprepared. To understand the soaring egg prices, we need to delve into the various elements that contribute to their production costs. It's not just about the eggs themselves, but the entire ecosystem that supports their production. The most significant factor is the rising cost of feed. Chickens need to eat, and their diet consists mainly of corn and soybeans. Both of these commodities have seen their prices skyrocket due to a combination of factors, including increased demand, bad weather, and geopolitical tensions. The global market for these essential crops has been highly volatile, affecting the cost of feed. Adverse weather conditions, such as floods and droughts, have further exacerbated the situation, reducing crop yields and driving up prices. Additionally, the ongoing war in Ukraine has disrupted supply chains, particularly for wheat and other grains, adding to the cost pressures. Fuel prices also play a major role. Transporting feed to farms and eggs to market requires fuel, and those costs are passed down the supply chain. The logistics of moving these goods are becoming increasingly expensive, impacting the final price of eggs. These increased transportation costs are ultimately reflected in our grocery bills, making everyday items like eggs more expensive. Furthermore, labor costs are increasing. Farmers are facing a shortage of workers, leading to higher wages to attract and retain employees. This labor shortage is a significant issue, as it affects the entire agricultural sector, not just egg production. Farmers are compelled to offer better wages and benefits to secure the necessary workforce. All of these factors contribute to the rising price of producing eggs, making it a complex issue with no single solution. While these cost increases are real and impactful, they don't tell the whole story.
To fully grasp the egg crisis, we need to examine who is profiting from these price hikes and who is struggling to survive. It's essential to look at the entire supply chain, from the farmers to the retailers, to understand the dynamics at play. Only then can we begin to address the root causes and find sustainable solutions. The goal is to ensure that everyone involved in the production and distribution of eggs can thrive without unfairly burdening consumers. By understanding these complexities, we can better navigate the challenges and work towards a more equitable food system.
While consumers struggle with rising egg prices, large-scale egg producers are experiencing record profits. These corporations, which dominate the egg industry, have used the current climate to increase their profit margins significantly.
They argue that they are simply passing on increased production costs, but their financial statements tell a different story. These companies have immense market power, allowing them to dictate prices to both farmers and consumers. They operate on a scale that allows them to absorb some cost increases, but they choose to pass them on, and then some, to maximize their profits.
This disparity between corporate profits and consumer struggles is a clear illustration of the power imbalances within our food system. This situation raises serious questions about fairness and transparency in the egg industry. While corporate executives enjoy bonuses, small farmers and consumers are left to bear the brunt of the crisis. While large egg producers are seeing record profits, small, independent farms are struggling to keep their doors open. These farms, often family-owned and operated, lack the economies of scale of their corporate counterparts. They have less negotiating power with suppliers and are hit harder by rising input costs.
Many small farms are committed to ethical and sustainable practices, such as pasture-raised eggs, which often come with higher production costs. These farms are caught in a bind, unable to compete with the low prices of factory-farmed eggs, yet unable to raise their prices without losing customers.
The struggles of small farms represent a significant threat to the diversity and resilience of our food system. These farms are vital for local economies, environmental stewardship, and animal welfare. Their demise would further consolidate power in the hands of a few corporations, leaving consumers with fewer choices and higher prices. Section 5. The power of the plate, supporting local, one egg at a time. In the face of this crisis, consumers have a choice to make. We can continue to support the industrial food system that prioritizes corporate profits over people and the planet, or we can choose to invest in alternatives.
Supporting local farmers is one of the most impactful ways to make a difference. Seek out farmers markets, community-supported agriculture programs, and local independent grocery stores that source eggs from nearby farms. By buying direct, you are not only supporting these farmers but also ensuring that more of your money goes towards supporting sustainable and ethical practices.
Every dollar spent is a vote for the kind of food system we want to support. By choosing to buy local, we can help build a more resilient and equitable food system that benefits everyone, from farmers to consumers. By thinking outside the traditional supermarket model, we can find creative solutions to the egg crisis. This means looking at alternative sources that are often overlooked but can provide high-quality, fresh eggs, and build more resilient local food systems. Remember, the egg crisis is not an isolated incident, it's a symptom of a larger problem within our food system. The industrial food chain is fragile and susceptible to disruptions. By exploring alternative sources of eggs, we can take back control of our food choices and support a more sustainable future. Consider starting your own backyard flock. This can be a rewarding experience that not only provides you with fresh eggs, but also connects you to the food you consume. While this requires space and commitment, it offers a direct connection to your food and greater control over its production. Additionally, explore community-based initiatives like urban farming projects or food co-ops. These initiatives often prioritize affordability and accessibility, making them valuable resources for communities facing food insecurity. Urban farming projects can transform vacant lots into productive spaces, providing fresh produce and eggs to local residents. Food co-ops, on the other hand, are member-owned and operated, ensuring that the community has a say in what is stocked and how it is priced. These co-ops often focus on local and sustainable products, including eggs. Beyond supporting local farms, there are other ways to access affordable eggs. Farmers markets, local farm stands, and community-supported agriculture (CSA) programs are excellent sources. These options not only provide fresh and often organic eggs but also support local farmers and the local economy. By diversifying where we get our food, we can create a more resilient and sustainable food system for everyone. Beyond supporting local farms, there are other ways to access affordable eggs. Section 7. Taking back control. Actionable steps for egg-conscious consumers. The egg crisis demands action, and each of us can play a role in creating change. Here are some actionable steps you can take today. 1. Educate yourself. Learn about the issues surrounding egg production and the impact of your food choices. 2. Support local. Prioritize buying eggs from local farmers through farmers markets, CSAs, or independent stores. 3. Explore alternatives. Consider raising chickens or participating in community-based food initiatives. 4. Reduce consumption. Be mindful of your egg consumption and explore egg-free alternatives for some meals. 5. Advocate for change. Contact your elected officials and demand policies that support small farmers and a more just food system. By taking these steps, we can send a clear message to policymakers and corporations that we demand a more sustainable and equitable food system. Section 8. A future with eggs, building a more sustainable system. The egg crisis is a wake-up call. It's time to rethink our relationship with food and rebuild our food systems to be more resilient, equitable, and sustainable. This requires a fundamental shift in our priorities, moving away from a system that prioritizes corporate profits and towards one that values the well-being of farmers, consumers, and the environment.
By supporting local farmers, exploring alternative food systems, and advocating for policy changes, we can create a future where eggs are accessible to all and where the true cost of production is reflected in the price. It's time to reclaim our food system and build a more just and sustainable future for all.
The choices we make today will determine the future of our food. Let's choose wisely.